Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Woo from February 23rd to March 1st, 2026. And what a crazy week we have upon us. So first of all, I just want to point out this week we are not overly busy or overly active with daily aspects. But is that going to make a difference, slowing things down, making things not as crazy and out of the blue? No, it's not. Just because of everything else we have going on. So again, I will start with our planetary shifts and what's going on for this entire week, first of all. So we have no aspects for the 23rd or the 24th. On the 26th of February, we will have Mercury stationing retrograde in Pisces at 22 degrees. Okay, so this retrograde will be lasting. Just let me look at my calendar. It will be going direct on March 20th. Okay, so that's going to be our duration. So the 26th of February to March 20th is going to be the full-blown Mercury retrograde time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And just keep in mind that Mercury in Pisces is in this detriment sign. It doesn't like being here. So that can even add to the confusion, or it makes things not smooth with communication and thinking. And it can be very, very overly emotional as well. Okay, so I just want to point that out. 27th, we have a very busy day of aspects. That's the only day that is very busy. And that actually comes with a crazy square, Mars square Uranus. And that is crazy. So I have mentioned before where we have been completely boxed in really this whole month by many Uranus squares and issues. So, that's, freedom fighting. It's rebellious. It's, the round peg in the square hole. It loves its freedom. It will fight for its freedom. It's erratic energy. And it's revolutionary energy, right? It can be fights, and it is basically a nonconformist. It's untraditional energy, it's unorthodox energy, and it's very unconventional. And it's out of the blue, right? We didn't see that coming. We didn't expect that. Okay, so that is really flavored this whole week, that kind of energy. So we will also have on the 27th a Sun conjunct Neptune. These are really, really big aspects, and the conjunction is the biggest, most powerful aspect in the astrology chart. So I do like to make a mention. So that happens to be on the same day as our Mars square Uranus, okay? So when we have Uranus involved, it's very, very unstable. It's unpredictable energy. So unexpected this, unexpected that, unexpected events, unexpected people, etc. So you kind of get my kind of drift or my description there. The 28th, we will have a Mercury conjunct Venus. That is a big one too. And so that's very communication linked, those kind of things. It can involve new starts or big news, big information, anything communication linked, right? And to do with relationships, money, health, finances, art, beauty. So, I see something like that. It makes me think that there could be communication liftoff with a project or an idea. You're thinking about it and away we go, right? Or, news to do with money and finances, or you're getting that art and beauty project or idea off the ground, those kind of things, okay? So it can be a very, very, very creative week, exceptionally intuitive, very emotional, but it's very upset. It's very unstable. It's very unpredictable. It is all over the map, okay? So also what we have going as larger overshadowing energies is currently not only are we in pre-shadow Mercury retrograde, we will be hitting full-blown Mercury retrograde, like I said, on the 26th. So that adds to the confusion. It adds to the chaotic energy of, things just not working out, having to rebook things, reschedule things. It's misunderstanding, that kind of stuff. But what happened is it's actually fallen right in the middle of full-blown eclipse season. So when we had our eclipse on February 17th, that was our new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees. And so that kicks off the bridge eclipse season. So that lasts about 2 weeks. So within that 2 weeks from the 17th to March 3rd, we actually have Mercury stationing retrograde in that time zone. Okay, so that makes it chaotic, and it's all over the place. It's confusing. It's very, very inspired. It's kind of inward looking, it's backwards looking, going over back-tilled territory, but it's just all over the place. It's unexpected events. And so when we talk about full-blown bridge eclipse season, and I always like to put a reminder, when we're sitting in eclipse season, it means people, places, things, or stuff are eclipsed in or out of life, usually on a permanent scale. So that can be small, medium, large events or things taking place. But usually it tends to be permanent in nature. So just keep that in mind. And when we have eclipse seasons, they come every 6 months, twice a year about, and that redirects our journey or path in life. So it comes along for that reset or that restructuring or that repositioning in life. It restructures our path in life. And so that's kind of the energy it gives off. So not only do we have Mercury retrograding within that time zone, we also have the crazy Uranus squares that have been going on. And we have one of the harshest squares going on in this week on the 27th. And again, that's that Mars square Uranus. So we have unstable eclipse energy mixed with Mercury retrograde in its detriment sign, which is totally confusing and very emotional, mixed in with crazy Uranus. So again, that can be crazy things taking place, crazy behaviors, crazy people doing crazy things, really, really off the wall crazy behaviors, and that can be on a global scale. So again, so you can see why it's kind of just a complete chaotic bag this whole week, okay? And so I want to talk a little bit about the Uranus score. So I just want to put out there, it's basically look 2 or 3 times in traffic, drive for your own safety, drive for the oncoming traffic, because this can be very, very harsh, unexpected accidents, okay? That can be on the ground, it can be vehicles, it can be ATVs, any sort of travel linked. It can be linked to unexpected tragic accidents. It can be unexpected war events. It can be unexpected violence in any way, shape, or form. So what we're doing is mixing the god of war with the unexpected and sky god of Uranus. So that could actually include plane crashes, problems with aviation, problems with air travel as a whole, skybound, on the earth, on the ground, whatever. It can be very, very chaotic, and again, very, very, very accident prone. So do watch not only for traffic and and travel areas, but do be careful on the job place, do be careful in the house and homes, because that could also be electrocution, those kind of things, shocks, those types of things. So I'll put it out there again, watch for yourself, watch for your co-workers, watch for your family, watch for your friends. Again, because this can seriously be the accident waiting to happen, okay? And anytime we have a square with those two, you couldn't get 2 meter planets mixed together in kind of like a conflict or a problematic mode. And again, this can be very much unexpected fights. So again, if you're thrown a hook, don't engage, walk away, because the week is not going to take anybody any place good when it comes to fights. So we're mixing, the god of war with rebellious Uranus energy and Aquarian energy. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So something else, I'm just going to go off on a little bit different because I'm looking at my notes here. This can also be a problem with money, currencies, markets, digital currency, finances. It can be problems on like the stock market, stock exchange, crazy currency drops or, losses. Just it's crazy all over the place. And again, I've mentioned electrical shocks, being electrocuted. Be very careful there. And something else I want to mention. This can actually include weather. Severe unseen weather situations happening or unfolding. So acts of God weather. So that can be, earthquakes, that can be volcanic activity, that can be flooding, it can be tsunamis, anything that you would consider acts of God weather storms. Okay, so that is out there too, because anytime we have Mars mixing with Uranus in Taurus, that's Mother Nature linked in a very severe negative way. So anything can and will happen with crazy weather. Okay. Yes, and surgeries. This can be a very, very, very problematic area for surgeries. First of all, we're in eclipse season, not a good time for surgeries or any sort of medical procedures, and that includes testing. So any testing diagnostics. So that can really be a problem falling within eclipse season, but we also have Mercury retrograde, which is a complete disaster, usually for equipment failure, issues with inaccurate or wrong test results, problems with surgeries, wrong pieces of the body part or anatomy being operated on, or pieces getting cut off that shouldn't be cut off, or problems with tools, or just things going sideways with surgery. So it just doesn't matter how you twist or turn it. This is a very, very, very bad time for surgeries or medical procedures. Now, that does not count for medical emergencies or accidents. I mean, if you're in an accident and you need medical help, you need medical attention, life-saving surgeries, you do what you got to do. And if there's any problems, it can always be repaired down the road. But life-saving procedures are a must, of course. So keep it in common sense mode, right? So I just want to put that out there. So if you do happen to be having any sort of medical testing done, blood tests, anything to do with medical diagnostics with medical equipment, and you know what, you're kind of questioning the results, that follow your gut and have a second set done, but wait till after March 20th, okay? Again, because that can be a kind of a train wreck with results and putting you in the wrong direction, being misdiagnosed, or that can actually being test results being put in the wrong people's files. That could happen too, okay? So I just want to put that out there. Okay, so let me see. We do have a lot of communication coming in and outgoing. So news, information, communication, emails, letters, text messages, word of mouth, chit chat, anything like that. So that's going to be very, very high. And again, this is such a crazy week. You know, do look after your self-care because it can be extremely tiring, exhausting. And just remember, nobody operates or thinks well running on an empty tank or coasting on fumes. So if you need rest, take it, because your thinking and your work quality will be much better for it, okay? So just remember that. What else do I want to say? And I guess that, you know, that combination of crazy, crazy upheaval, crazy rebellious. And this can be like an extreme week where we can start seeing revolution maybe in your life or revolution on a global scale. Okay, it's because we have so much going on. It's that everything and anything is possible. That fight for freedom, absolutely. And you know, Uranus, Aquarius, that will not back down. It's not a conformist. It will not be told what to do. And it's not about conformity in any way, shape, or form, right? You push, it'll push back. All right. Now, something else I want to talk about too. So even though we do have the Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus, that is the unexpected events in people, war, violence, problems, whatever, just what I just finished talking about. It's actually mixing with the death and wealth star Algol. So when we see this and everything going on around this, so usually Algol is not kind of off with the head. It's the head of the Medusa. And so what that means is that can be power, that can be status, that can be title, stripped away on an instant. And when it falls in this particular time zone, that's like here today, gone tomorrow. My job was here today, now it's gone tomorrow. My title, my status, if you're a prime minister or if you are a president or any sort of leader or authoritarian figure, you can have that status title today and it's gone tomorrow. And that gone tomorrow by whatever ends, that can be by various means. So, I mean, do the math there. You can figure it out. And again, this is also about truths coming out. Uranus is always about shocking revelation, shocking truths coming. And lots of times that can end people's jobs, career, status, title, or power, or a seat in power, okay? It's also known as the wealth star, right? So an Algol, when we're talking about death and wealth, that can be figurative, but that can also be physical. So we can be seeing physical death on some level. That is definitely possible because it's crazy mixed with crazier. It's unstable, right? All over the place, it's unpredictable. So it's one of those weeks where you'd probably be, thinking everything seems really normal, kind of smooth, and all of a sudden, holy crap, out of the blue, this chaotic event comes in or the news comes in like, I can't believe that. And then all of a sudden you have catastrophic changes, and it changes probably it's life-changing news even on a global scale. So this can also be mixed with wealth. So not only is it the death star, the demon star, the head of the Medusa, it's also a wealth star. And so this can actually flip the other way too. It can have to do with money, currencies, winnings, big money areas. And so it can cover that. It's also linked with alcoholism, problems due to alcohol. So, when I'm talking about unexpected accidents like on the road or traffic accidents, that can also be alcohol linked. And it's also linked to teeth, if you can imagine. So, having problems, when I see this, it's very problematic all the way around when it's mixing with the alcohol. And you could have bad teeth because of alcoholism. That's possible too. But problems with dentures, upper and lower teeth, that can be problems with teeth. teeth being extracted, cavities, anything to do with your teeth in a negative way where it's a problem, they're causing you troubles. Oh, or even tooth or gum infections, that can run with that as well. But it's a problem. And so you can link all those things with that particular thing, and all the other issues I linked with your Mars square Uranus. Or, it's possible you could be in a fight and someone's teeth being punched out because it's mixed with the god of war, which is about violence and fighting, and unexpected, a punch in the face when your teeth get knocked out, right? So I'm just making up that as examples, but that is definitely possible. It's kind of a bit of a wild week. So again, keep your hands to yourself. Do not engage, walk away, because this week is so unpredictable and so crazy and chaotic. Just do not provoke crazy. Do not engage with crazy behavior. And we hope that we're not going to see any more crazy behavior that leads to unexpected deaths. I mean, we've seen that over the last couple of weeks. And so it is really carrying through with that kind of energy. So do be on your best behavior. And even if you are angry, provoked, do not carry on with that, and do not engage in that. Do not activate. Do not, entice or aggravate crazy behavior, crazy people, crazy minds, because that's going to go no place good real quick. Okay, so that being said, I think that's all I need to see there. And so we are going to be having some old hurts and wounds in life coming up that are going to be needing some dealing with. And so this it addresses things that need to come up and needs to be dealt with, needs to be acknowledged. So there's that. So do expect that. And just remember, every time we look after problematic areas and put them to bed, that becomes a positive kind of in our back pocket, right? Avoiding is just not a good idea, and unfortunately Pisces energy, which we're sitting in a stellium, can be very avoiding, evading, or ignoring. So don't do that, but do deal with it in appropriate ways, okay? What else do I want to say here? The other thing I do want to talk about is our Pisces stellium, since I just touched on that. So we have a huge amount of Pisces energy. So we have our sun, we have Mercury, we have Venus, we have our North Node, all in Pisces. So what does that mean? It means it's water energy, a whole bunch of water. It's mutable energy. So it's going to want you to do this and be over here, be over there, and start, 30 different things. And you eventually run out of time. You can't finish anything because you're too busy starting everything all over the place. So it can be expensive. It can be frustrating. It can be aggravating. So do avoid that. Keep everything in check, and maybe pick, 1 or 3 or 5 things to do, but don't go crazy and not be able to finish anything. Okay, and water energy. So every time we're looking at water, it means it's intuitive. It means it's sensitive. It means it's very emotional. And so it can be very, very spiritual. It can be artistic. It can be very, very inspired, dreamy, creative. So those are some of the good points. But when we have so much water energy, we really have to be careful with flooding. That's something else I will put out there. So water main breaks, that can be flooding land or seas or ocean into land, flooded basements, broken water pipes, leaking dishwashers, washing machines, broken water pipes in the walls or in the basement, leaky toilets running over. That also includes sewage backup. So water problems any way, shape, or form. So that is physical. But when we're actually looking at water, that can be fluid water, meaning water runs into places it's not supposed to be. So whether it's walls, under doors, those kind of things, or leaks, that can also pertain to people that can't mind their own business. And so do always maintain healthy, respectful boundaries, because that's going to get someone into trouble this week too. So make sure you practice healthy, respectable boundaries with people, and they practice respectable, healthy boundaries with you, and make sure basically people's noses stay on your own face, including your own, okay? Because that can be a big problem when we have so much stellium energy in Pisces. Okay. Now, I think that covered everything. Again, our full-blown Mercury retrograde season is from February 26th to March 20th. Our full-blown eclipse season is February 17th to March 3rd. And again, boxed in by all these crazy, war-torn, unexpected, crazy Uranus energy. That is going to be for a couple of weeks yet. Okay. It's also very highlighted with relationships too. So not only money, health, relationships, beauty, art, those kind of things, finances, but relationships and partnerships are going to be kind of in the spotlight too. And because we are going into full-blown Mercury retrograde on the 26th, now I touched base on this a little bit before, but do expect to have to deal with things from the past. So that can be situations, problems, circumstances, and for the most part, I can probably promise you that there's going to be people from your past that pop up that either you run into in person, they phone you, they text you, an email, something like that, because that's very, very common with this, okay? I do want to mention the problem of addictions. That is something else, overdosing and oversensitivity. Okay, so I do want to mention that too. So, and again, I will also mention when we have the oversensitivity, overdosing, that can really be, because we're mixing alcohol with alcohol, that can be, DWIs, impaireds. And so it won't take as much to have blow over or have an oversensitivity to, well, alcohol or any sort of drugs, prescriptions, or street drugs, or recreational drugs, I guess I should say. Okay, so just something to keep in mind, and something when it comes to also money markets, kind of going in a different direction, but still Pisces linked. We can be looking at oil, where oil comes from, drilling. That can be sales, that can be exploration, and that can be oil in the markets, the market world, right? The stock markets. That can include gas, right? That can, like, gas at the pumps and how it's produced and the marketing with the gas, and also include plastics, okay? So anything to do with plastic quality, plastic marketing, plastic manufacturing, the market value of plastics, something like that. Okay, so we are going to, I think I covered everything there. We're going to move on to the second part. So I'm going to just kind of involve you with some of the house areas that are going to be looked at. And so this will take in the physical body. So the weight, wellness, healing, illness, the getting the physical body in shape, right? And that includes the muscles. So when we talk about house 1, that also includes about the head and head areas. So that's external on the head. That could be your hair, that could be your scalp, anything on the external. So, on the skin or in the inside, that can include anywhere in the brain, sinus cavities and behind the eyes. And that, again, that will include the teeth, upper and lower. All right. And this can also influence or include your viewpoint, your opinions or views on a daily basis, or how you look at things, okay? But yourself as a person, specifically on the physical body, is going to be on the table or the menu for talking about, thinking about, or actually doing. And again, we can be looking at finances, money, resources, major purchases, how and where you make your money, right? And it can also, again, environment and earth linked. Long-term security, building a savings account. This happens to be the assets, the valuables, the possession selves, but this is also about our personal values and value systems, okay? Again, this can be communication. So the communications, when we talk about that, those communication devices, so that can be, you might be thinking about, new computers, which I do not advise. Do not buy any sort of electronic device during pre-shadow or Mercury retrograde, because it's really lemon season. But if you must, it's always advised to buy full coverage insurance for replacement, or better yet, if you can get just a lender or a borrow model for a few weeks, that's also recommended too. Because sometimes you just can't help it. If you got a broken phone, you need a phone. It's just the way it is. But I would recommend buying full coverage insurance or replacement coverage insurance for any sort of electronic device that goes for vehicles, any sort of means of transportation, anywhere from a side-by-side to a quad to a car to a truck, anything, okay? Even airplanes, that's be something else, because that's travel as well. Okay, so this is communication. So the house of communication, so whether that be emailing and talking and texting and, personal chat, or any sort of communication device involved. So that could be talking to your relatives, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, and especially siblings, okay, brothers or sisters, if you have any. Again, you might be shopping around, doing some research or some behind the scenes research on maybe purchasing any sort of electronic device or vehicle. And again, this is about short trips here and there in your local environment. So running to the store, running to the neighboring town, maybe even an hour or two away. So short trips, all over the place, for the mail, to the grocery store, to the Walmart, to wherever. Here, there, and all over. And that could even be to siblings' houses or relatives' houses. This includes writing and editing. So you might be writing something, you might be editing something. Actually, you might be an editor for somebody. And again, this can include social media platforms, and internet. So just do keep in mind that is forms of communication. So, but you might be starting a new social media platform, or you might be getting into watching them, right? Or having internet projects, those kind of things. And this also includes the neighbors, people who are close to us, our friends, okay? So they could be highlighted topics too. So whether they have problems, or you're just a general talking, or maybe you're lending support to your neighbors, people who are close to you, specifically your friends. This can include romance, sex, falling in love. This is also the bucket list area, good luck, speculation. It's about children or grandchildren, pleasure, joy, having fun, doing things that you find fun, creative expression. So that can be writing, publishing. That could be anywhere from a makeup artist to a seamstress or someone who is a quilter, right? Creative projects, hobbies, fun. That can include gambling and talents. Specifically hidden ones. You come up with talents that are natural talents that maybe people didn't realize. This is also taking a leadership role, maybe in your world, or a leadership role in your own life. So this can often pertain where, people are trying to control, then you take your reins back in life and you take your own leadership and you take your own road and you gain and you re-grab your own personal identity back. This can include sports, okay? Anything sports oriented. So that could be, you into sporting, going into sports, or watching sports on TV, or going downtown to your local environment, watching sports teams play, anything like that. But it's about what brings you joy. All right. And this, again, this is quite health house linked. So remember, the health houses are house 1, 6, and 8. And so this is a specific health house looking at diet, exercise, health focus, okay? Healing and wellness, daily routines, daily regimens. So that could be daily routines of exercise and making sure you're having daily routines of good diet and food. This is also about forming systems, having systems that work, good organizational skills. And it's all about work, doing work that's important to you. So that can be your work at home, or it could be your work on your job. And it's all about details. This can include pets too. Your service to the world, that can be employees as well. So, or you might be having a mentorship program. You might be mentoring, or someone might be mentoring you. And again, on the negative side for the 6th house, this can include slavery, or feeling enslaved, or enslavement. So that can be feeling enslaved in a relationship, or you're enslaved to your job due to debt overload, or huge debts or loan payments too. This is also a karma house, okay? Again, I've talked about the 7th house, and so that's relationships, partnerships. It's also about practitioners, helpers, art, aesthetics, design, agreements, contracts, clients, customers, customer relations, public relations, customer service as well. And this is also not only to do with relationships external to you, but this is also to do with relationships with selves. And often when this shows up, we can be reevaluating our self-values and our self-worth, right? So we upgrade our self-values. We're not putting up with this anymore, or something going on. Or you get fed up and that line finally gets crossed. And when you become looking at things where I deserve better, I'm not tolerating this anymore, well, instantly you have an upgrade in your value systems and your value structures. And remember, we always, always, always attract what we believe our self-worth is, and it matches our values, our personal values, okay? This will also include the innovation house, the technology house, air travel. This has to do with the 11th house, Aquarius and Uranus. So that we're talking sky god, sky travel. This is also about politics, and I do believe we're going to see political upset, political upheaval, people being punted out of their political status, job, seat, or title. Okay, this is also about the hopes, wishes, and dreams, and this is also about the pennies from heaven. This is actually a pretty good luck house too. And it's about internet connection. And again, that's something else I want to mention. There can be internet outages, internet problems, dropping internet signals, problems with terminals at stores, like, credit card terminals, because there is a blurb in the internet connection. So that's something else I forgot to mention that I want to mention. And again, this can be to do with friends, friend circles, dating, the place in your friendship group, acquaintances. Again, social media and internet is lit up quite a few times here this whole week, so it can be anything to do with that. Internet work, internet projects, internet platforms, social media platforms. This also has to do with groups, committees, large organizations, or humanitarian efforts. Now, we can see freedom rallies uprising, or it can be people who are rebelling against restrictions and fighting for freedom. And what is the word I'm looking for? Protest. That's what I'm looking for. So we can be looking at aggressive protests, those kind of things, freedom fighting, and things kind of being maybe going a little bit sideways crazy as well. Okay, so, and again, this is about being with like minds, like groups and associations. And again, this can have to do with anything to do with digital currency. And in this particular spot, it's going to be a problem probably with digital currencies. Okay, and so that pretty much covers everything with that, with the exception. I'm just going to read off the 12th house because we have that Pisces stellium, which is definitely going to include this. So the Pisces house always rules the 12th house, and that is a water house, which is dark, it's hidden, you can't see things. So it's things going on behind the scenes, hidden things or secrets, rest, retreat, recharge, rejuvenate time. This includes dream and dream time. So if you do dream, document your journals, document your dreams in a dream journal, It can include astral dreaming, lucid dreaming, just dream time as a whole. It can be remote viewing, teleportation. This is always about the inner work, our subconscious mind, our psychology. This can include mystical spirituality beliefs or mystical study or practices. Esoteric, occult, anything like that, anything to do with the Akashic records, looking into past lives. So that's kind of a really highlighted thing. Past lives and generational karma. Art, creativity, fears and addictions also falls in this. So because we have so much Pisces energy, that could be something. Fears, addictions being a problem, avoiding, evading, ignoring. And this is escapism. So escapism can be just simply, I'm ignoring that problem because I don't want to deal with it today, or it can be escapism by addiction. So drugs, alcohol, mixing them just to like zone out of reality. It's not a good thing. And this can be about being private, liking your privacy and having solitude time, but it can also flip over to being confined or having confinement. So that can be hospitals, jails, penitentiaries, orphanages, isolation or being stuck, okay? So again, there's a difference between healthy and unhealthy escapism. And again, there's a difference between solitude, isolation, and being stuck and forced into confinement. So, for example, if you're in jail, well, obviously the legal system put you there, and you'd probably rather not be there, but that's where it is, and you're confined and you're stuck there. So, it can be stuck in a relationship you don't want to be. That's an example. Or the isolation, that can also be isolated from family and friends within an abusive relationship. So, that's another example of that. It won't be for everybody, but that's just an example. All right. Again, high spirituality energy here. And this can also, the last but not least, can be that redefining yourself or your ego from the ground up, from ground zero. So, for example, you lost everything and we're starting over. I went through a divorce, we're starting over. That can go from your title being stripped to married back to single, married down to divorced. Starting from ground zero with assets, building yourself up again, a new image, a new you. So that is also here. This is also a karma house. Again, past lives is a big thing. Akashic records is a big thing in this house. The generational karma. So when I talk generational karma, that would be repeating problematic cycles that go through generations in family. And everybody will have it somewhere. You just have to sit and think about it because you will see it. So it would be your generation, your parents' generation, your grandparents' generation, and even your great-grandparents' generation, if you know anything going back that far. All right, so that will end and conclude that. So now I'm going to jump over to the health and anatomy. And so that is going to cover, let me see. All right, that is going to cover the blood test. And again, do be very careful when you're getting any test or testing done or using testing equipment, because the chance of faulty equipment, wrong results, false positives, false negatives is going to be a problem. So if something seems not right, do follow that, do trust that, go get a second or third opinion. Okay, so blood tests, immune system, lymphatic system, toxicity. So that can be toxic water around you or toxic water in the body. It has to do with viruses, thymus gland. This can have to do with water retention, abnormal swelling, water retention within the lymphatic system, lymphatic drainage being a problem. Okay, then it will move on to the throat, neck, ears, vocal cords, thyroid, tongue, mouth, tonsils, lower teeth. We've covered the teeth, tops and bottoms already. And this can have to do with your feet, your ankles, your Achilles heel. This is also to do with your electrical system. I will put a warning, be careful for electrical shocks, electrocution, especially in water. That's so just be careful about that. I think that's all I need to say about that guy. And so we are going to move on to the other part. And so this will also take in, your overall state of health and vitality. And again, that can be about the physical body, looking after it a little better, doing physical exercise, getting into better shape, working the muscles, building muscle, just a better state of health. So this also includes the heart, upper back, spleen, circulatory system, sperm, the eyes. That will include, again, the brain, the head area, the nervous system. So, keep the anxiety, the stress, any sort of, mental or, mental overload we want to keep in check, right? So grounding techniques will be very important this week. Respiratory system, mouth, tongue, sight. That includes lungs, hands, arms, elbows, your thyroid gland, and of course anything to do with the mind, the mental realm. This can have to do with the throat area, chin, cheeks, the sense of taste, kidneys, ovaries, internal reproductive organs. That can include any sort of male or female hormones, blood circulation, skin, and sensory organs of the skin. So, and when it comes to skin, that can include, skin care, or you're looking after skin problems, maybe you have eczema, psoriasis, those kind of things, or just improving your skin as a whole, doing different techniques or something like that, or it can even procedures, right? And again, the muscular system in the body, external reproductive systems, anything to do with the head, face, specifically red blood cells, bladder, adrenal glands. Okay. And I think that should pretty much cover it. I think we have everything we need to talk about there. Yes, and the higher nervous system. So that's going to be the electrical impulses passing over the nerve cells. And again, body electricity. So again, be careful with shocks, those kind of things. And it could be, higher nervous system issues. Do look after that. For the most part, we have mostly negative aspects. We have two conjunctions. Those can swing either way. So I really don't count those one way or the other. But we have a mean Uranus-Mars square. That's a mean sucker. And the other thing I want to point out is do know that your plans are going to change on a daily basis. So don't think that your plans are going to stick for the week, because that's not going to happen. So don't expect them to be concreted in, because you're going to have to change it, because we have a crazy week with crazy planets involved. We have Mercury retrograde, which is famous. We have to redo, we have to reshift, we have to restructure, we have to go back and redo. Usually it's appointments. So keep that in mind. And then we also have the issues of eclipse season. So when eclipse season comes in, it's all over the place. It's shake up. Uranus makes plans unstable. We're always redoing these little mini hiccup problematic aspects that always change our plans. Those are active this week. So anyway, just be flexible, be open, have plan A, B, C, D, E, because if it doesn't work out for A, move on to plan B. Whatever rolls smooth, roll with it. Again, do be very careful in the house. Do watch for water leaks. Do be very, very careful about accidents, watching for accidents, preventing them mainly. Look 2 or 3 times before pulling out. Do be very careful on the job. Watch for your coworkers, your family, your friends. Again, it's very unstable. Anything can and will happen. And just remember, just because it's, kind of hard square aspects, just remember squares don't always play out as negative or hard or challenged or conflict, because they can flip the other way, right? On a rare note, they can. So what do I mean by that? So when you see hard aspect weeks, like pretty much this one is, or high impact, they can actually play out the other way. So it can actually, like, for example, if there was a truth to come out in a courtroom, well, you have two parties involved. One party is going to be right, one party is going to be wrong. So it's going to pan out well for one, but not the other. So so the truth between right versus wrong, good versus bad, truth versus falsehood or lies, or, unearthed truths that just you didn't see coming, but it changes absolutely everything, but in your favor. Okay, so that's how that can also play out. On a rarer note, it can happen. So when we have these crazy, crazy weeks, don't always assume bad, because that's not always the case, okay? Anyway, I think all I will add to that is do be clear in communication, have concise communication, because we are in Mercury retrograde. There's misunderstandings, things taken to heart, taken the wrong way. So do keep your tempers in check, because we have high emotional energy with challenging aspects, which means we can fly off the handle in anger, temper, say and do things that we shouldn't have done, we wouldn't normally do. So again, really think twice before speaking, think twice before acting. And if there is miscommunication, be open enough to retract and make it very, very clear and concise what you mean. Say what you mean what you say. Okay, with that being said, I think I will sign off for now. That should pretty much, I think, wrap it up. But it's kind of a crazy week, so go with the flow. Be safe out there. Contain your temper. If you need to sleep, take a sleep, because people who are tired are grumpy and crabby. And anyway, good luck out there. And let's put it out there. Let's have some good things happen this week and make it a pay it forward week, okay? So until we chat again, stay happy, stay healthy, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. Bye for now.